We're at the Amish Village in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hey guys, so we're on the bus and we're gonna get moving. So here's the road.
Okay, the first few hundred you cannot grow any more farmland, but the families keep growing. As the families grow, they need a place to live. If they cannot build a house on the property or maybe put another addition onto that home, Amish are now buying English houses. An English house has electricity. Once the Amish move into that house, they have 1 year to come off the electric grid. And we'll talk about that in a few more minutes, but they have 1 year to come off the grid, and the bishop, he does inspect it. Now the first house I'm going to point out to you is over here on your left-hand side. Looks like the garage. That's actually the barn, or the stall. They keep the horse, the buggy, the feed. If you take a look, you'll notice a rail right in front of that garage door. If the Amish have any friends or families that have a horse or buggy, that's a place where they can tie the horse while they're visiting. Also, a garden. Right here, it's on the front lawn. It doesn't matter. They only grow what they need for their own personal consumption. It could be on the front of the property, the rear, the side. And what the Amish will do, again, they only grow what they need for their own personal consumption. Anything that's left over, they may leave it or give it to a neighbor, a friend, a family member. Amish are very industrious, always looking for ways to make a few extra dollars. They may sell it, they could have a roadside stand, or give it to one of their friends who have a roadside stand. Next house I want to point out to you is also over here on the left, the very last home. You see the buggy, the barn in the back, but what I want you to do is pay particular attention to the front door. Either side of the front door has a gray, blank, flat plate. Again, this used to be an English home. It had outdoor lighting, it had electricity. There's no electricity in that home. They don't need the outdoor fixtures. Unlike their neighbors over here on the right-hand side of the road, where you'll see the farms, much bigger. The families are larger. 7, maybe 8 children, mother and father. That's 10. They have the barn where they can put the cows in there, and the horses. If you notice that silo, there's actually 3 silos to your left. Inside the silo is silage. Silage is chopped up corn and the corn stalk. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'll just have you take a look for the next half a minute or so. Just look at the different style of homes, the barns, the homes, the crops. Now they've already cut 1 crop of corn. The solar panels are primarily used for her indoor lighting, also for her cash register. All right, great timing, guys. At the end of the driveway, the blue booth that you see, the gray booth that you're looking at, I'm looking at her dress. The blue booth, the gray booth is a phone booth. As I said earlier, she just came down on her scooter. She's going to go inside, check her voicemail, check her messages, make a few return calls, and then head back home again. Again, the Amish, they don't stay there. Farm equipment to both Amish and to the English. There is no discrimination. Amish sell to both Amish and English. And the English, they sell to both English and to the Amish. If you have the cash, they want to make a sale. Also, if you take a look to your left, you're going to see the windmill. The windmill pumps the water from the well up to the house and to the barn. Farm to build a house. So what they're doing, they're buying English homes. Okay, up here on your left-hand side of the road, the first house. This used to be an English home. It is now Amish owned, Amish occupied. If you look in the back, you'll see the barn, well, the buggies inside the barn. Also, the garden. But then the next house you're going to take a look at, the second house, it's also Amish. But the electricity is going inside that house. Again, they have 1 year to come off that grid. Now, 1 year seems like a long time, and it is, but the Amish are very busy. They are temperature and humidity controlled, and they cost $175,000 each. Over here on the left, this is an English farm, and all you do, you see acres and acres of crops. Now you have an Amish house, Amish business. This is their garden. He's a welder. He repairs stalls, gates. He does repairs. House on the right, that's an English home. Air conditioner in the window, electricity. And now we're looking at an Amish farm. Look inside the white vinyl fence. You'll see the Amish farm back to back to the English farm. Now again, here's a great example of strip farming. Okay, over here on your right now. Inside that now, let me explain. Even though today's Labor Day, the children still have school. They only miss 5 days throughout the year. And they're usually holy days. Now the children go to school grades 1 through 8. That's where they get their formal education. Once they graduate from the 8th grade, they now go on to learn a skill, a trade, or an internship. Now the teacher, she's 16 years old when she starts teaching. She graduated 2 years ago. She's been trained. Now she teaches. She gets paid $5 an hour. She's paid by the local Amish community whose children go to that school. Now she'll teach until she gets married and starts a family. Usually by the time she's 19 years old, that's the average age of an Amish girl when she gets married. It's 22 years old for the boy. Amish also take great pride in home ownership. They build a barn first. When the barn's finished, they live on the second floor of the barn until the house is complete, over here on your left. Once the house is finished, that's when they move in. Next house I'm going to point out to you is also over here on your left. It's the White House, not the White House. It's the one-story White House over here on your left. It's on this side of the chimney. Now that one-story White House, that is called a Doty house. A Doty house is a house where the grandparents live. As the generations get a little bit older, they don't send grandma and grandpa off to a nursing home. They're going to live in that house for the rest of their life. Over here on the right, another Amish-owned business, Fairview grocery store. They sell meats, produce, delicatessen, and they also sell bulk foods. But they don't bury their dead and put them on the side of the road, just like we saw at that French cemetery. Amish, their cemeteries are usually on the side of a hill or in a field somewhere. Now the good news is, I want to show you a cemetery, but the better news is they finally cut the tobacco. We can see the headstones. Lancaster. Again, you'll see the scooters outside, outhouse in the back. The first room, you go up the step, the first room, that's one classroom, and if you look right there at the ground level, you'll see 5 windows. That's the second room of the 2-room schoolhouse. I don't want to make a turn right here at the center back and the home. Of course, you'll see the Amish clothes hanging outside. I always say, rain or shine, they still hang the clothes on the line. Eventually they dry. Amish home, the barn, the garden, the home. English on the right. It's a nice house, but it's not as well kept or as maintained as the Amish homes. Amish over here on the left, and then an English house. TV antenna, satellite dish, air conditioner in the window, electricity, and there's probably a car on the drive. Yep, it's there. and then Amish. What a difference between night and day, between that first house and this house. Again, they take great pride in home ownership. Another one-room schoolhouse over here on your left. Remember, kids, it's Labor Day. You're not in school, are you? But the Amish are. Amish farm on the left. He also has a cottage business. He repairs clocks. He repairs grandfather clocks, antique. Up here on the left, the three buildings. The first one's the barn. The house in the middle, that's the original home. The house to the right, that could be a Doty house. If you take a look, you're going to see where it's connected, right there on the first floor. Now, the reason they would connect that, if it's a Doty house, weather like this, if it's raining, if it's pouring, and the children want to visit Grandma and Grandpa, they don't have to go out into the rain, step in the puddles, walk through the mud, then track it into Grandma's. They can walk right next door. In the winter, 18 degrees and windy. They don't have to leave the house, don't put on a coat, you walk right next door. Now the Amish, they do not have any food restrictions. They can eat whatever they want and as much of it as they want. Amish pay taxes. They pay income tax, property tax, Pennsylvania sales tax, and they also pay a road tax for the horse and buggy. Those buggies have steel wheels, and they put ruts in the road. Every so often, the state of Pennsylvania has to come out and resurface the highway, so they pay a road tax. The Amish are working for someone. They pay into Social Security. Social Security income tax. But the Amish never collect Social Security. They never collect it, they never apply for it. That's because they will not accept it.
So we just took a stop at this Amish supermarket, and now we got some chow chow, some pie, and some fried pies, and now we're back on the road. So see you guys later.
One type of stitching throughout the entire quilting process. All consistent. Okay, over here on your left, here's your picture perfect tobacco barn. Now right next to it is that greenhouse. Now they raised the flaps to this one. The first one I showed you, the flaps were downward. Of course, it was raining a little bit too. So that's what they'll do. They'll put it into this greenhouse. As I said earlier, when the weather starts to get cold or damp, they will Amish schoolhouse. It's one of the oldest in the county. It was built in 1880. Another farmer's market. Also inside the market is called Latte Love. It's a coffee shop. And they also make donuts and fresh and daily. Also up here on your left, the very last building, it's called Katy's Kitchen. It's authentic Amish cooking. The cook, the chef, the wait staff, all Amish. So if you want to stop by a little bit later for a good Amish meal, in fact, the first Thursday of the month, you're going to be here for a couple more days, it's prime rib night. And finally on the right is the Amish Village.
Our Amish tour was quite impressive. The Amish are very ingenious in what they use and how they use it. Here you can see a mixer run on compressed air from an air compressor. The Amish live a very simple lifestyle. You can see their ornate beds, but the mattress is just a pad, and then it's made out of ropes. But their quilting is amazing. It's quite beautiful and ornate. They use beautiful colors. You can see their standard furniture here, and this is at the Amish Village in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. There's a quilt again with beautiful hearts. Here you can see a simple setup, no running water. They use a pitcher and a bowl. And you can see the girls enjoying the landscape at Amish Village. They have buggies that everybody can try out. The girls enjoy trying each one out. They have different buggies for different jobs around the farm. This is a travel buggy. And as you can see, the property is quite vast. This was a working Amish farm, and now it is for tourists to come in and see what the Amish life was all about. It's Mom and Dad's turn. Looking good, guys. There's Callie Rose with her bonnet. The children really enjoyed the Amish Village. It was a learning experience, but there was lots of things to do. Here's Carly with the animals. So this is no longer a working farm, but they do have the animals that they would typically have on the farm. And Carly was in heaven. She loves ponies. Callie Rose loves the ponies. And they really enjoyed petting and just taking a peek at what was on the farm. Here's Kelsey looking at the baby ducks. She wanted to take one home. For 25 cents you could get some feed and you could feed the animals. Here's Carly taking her turn, and Kelsey wanted a turn. And Callie Rose said, "No way, that's gross." Here's Mr. Ed on the larger side of the barn. They have horses, obviously, for travel with their buggies, and then they also have mules that they use for the agricultural aspects of the farm, for harvesting and carrying large loads. The girls really enjoyed petting the animals, and Carly was really just in heaven. One day she said she wants a farm of her own. "Giddy up," they said. "Run, Carly, run." Now it's Callie Rose's turn. "Run in place." Here's the one-room schoolhouse. The girls were impressed at how the desk went from very small to larger in the back, although they did complain that they were a little hard for their taste. Not much different than our homeschool environment. We enjoyed our visit at Amish Village in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You should check it out.